There is a moment in a man's life that almost no one prepares him for. Not collapse, not awakening, not rebuilding, but the moment the world starts taking him seriously. No one sits you down for it. No one explains what is about to change. There is no threshold marker, no rite of passage, no announcement. It doesn't come with applause. It doesn't come with a speech. It comes with weight. You feel it before you can name it. The tone around you shifts. Conversations get shorter. Expectations stop being padded. People stop checking whether you are okay before they speak plainly. Requests stop being wrapped in politeness. Reality stops being softened for your comfort. It becomes clean, direct, quietly unforgiving. And the difference is precise. When you are not taken seriously, people manage you. They explain things twice. They remind you. They always check in. They renegotiate deadlines. They carry part of the consequence for you. They leave room for error because error is what is expected. When you are taken seriously, they stop doing that. Not because they hate you. Not because you failed. Not because you became cold or distant, but rather because the world has decided you are supposed to be able to hold your own life. That decision does not feel like promotion. It feels like removal. Fewer reminders, shorter messages, more assumptions, less patience for stories and excuses. You are no longer rescued. You are no longer handled. You are handed responsibility and then you are watched. And a lot of men panic right here. Not because they are breaking down, but because they never realized that respect has a cost. Most men say they want respect. Very few want the price that comes with it. Because being taken seriously changes the rules of the game. It means your excuses now stop working. Not because people become cruel and hard-hearted, but because excuses only function when you are still seen as someone who cannot yet be relied upon, who cannot yet hold their own life. Once you are taken seriously, the world stops tracking your intention and immediately starts tracking your results, your outcomes. Not your mood, not how sincere you sounded, not how hard it felt. Outcomes, results. Your words start getting weighed. If you say you'll do something, it becomes a contract, not a vibe, not a possibility, not we'll see, a contract. And if you don't follow through, nothing dramatic happens. No confrontation, no tantrum, no lecture, just a quiet adjustment behind the scenes. You stop being offered certain opportunities. You stop being included in certain decisions. You stop being trusted with certain weight. The world doesn't punish you. It recalibrates itself around you. And most men would rather keep the soft status of being the good guy than step into the harsh clarity of being accountable, being reliable. So they unconsciously sabotage. They stay vague so they can't be pinned down. They over-explain so they can keep sympathy. They delay decisions so they can avoid blame. They keep a back door open so they never have to fully stand behind their words. They want admiration without responsibility. Visibility without accountability. Respect without consequence. The world doesn't work that way. And the men who truly grow are the ones who accept the trade-off. Respect costs comfort. Authority costs excuses. A serious life costs a certain kind of social ease. So when a man becomes serious, and I mean truly serious, something changes around him. Not because he demands it. Not because he performs strength. Not because he announces a new identity. Because his inner world becomes coherent and aligned. He does what he says. He doesn't negotiate with himself for hours. He doesn't make promises to manage people's emotions. He doesn't say, "I'll try," when he already knows the answer is no. And the world responds to him. People stop checking if he's okay. They just naturally assume that he'll handle it. People stop cushioning truth. They speak directly because they believe he can take directness without collapsing and going into moods. People stop chasing him too. They wait to see what he will do. The environment becomes less charged, less emotional, and more real and pragmatic. And this isn't punishment. This is actually recognition of that character building. The world only tests what it believes might hold weight. A man who is still seen as unstable gets protected. A man who is seen as stable gets tasked. That is why this moment feels heavy. Because the moment you become credible, reliable, accountable, life stops treating you like a project and starts treating you like a foundational pillar. And that shift is not comfortable, but it is clean and straight and direct, and it can hold pressure and weight. Here is the law most men never hear. The more seriously you are taken, the less room you have to hide. You are no longer judged by intention. You are judged by follow-through. You are no longer evaluated by emotion. You are evaluated by consistency. You are no longer rewarded for meaning well. You are rewarded for being dependable. And that means something very specific. You are no longer allowed to collapse theatrically. Not because you're not allowed to feel, but because you're expected to regulate yourself and respond accordingly. A serious man still feels fear. He still feels grief. He still feels pressure. He still feels sadness. The difference is he does not use his emotions as a bargaining chip, as excuses. He does not use discomfort as something to abandon his standards. He does not turn struggle into a performance. This is not a punishment. This is initiation into authority. And authority is not dominance. Authority is reliability under pressure. It is the ability to hold your inner world without making it everyone else's problem. It is the ability to keep your word when the mood is gone. It is the ability to carry weight without demanding applause and recognition for carrying it. Most men want the status of authority. Very few want that raw, grounded, authentic discipline of it. Men who resent disciplined men often say things like, "He thinks he is better than everyone." Whereas what they actually mean is, "He reminds me of the standards I have abandoned within myself." A serious man does not need to dominate others. He does not need to speak loudly. He does not need to prove himself. His coherence does the work. When you are around a man like that, a certain kind of chaos cannot hide. If you are vague in that kind of presence, it becomes obvious. If you are inconsistent in that presence, it shows. If you are lying to yourself, then the lie gets louder in that presence. And this isn't because he calls you out and tries to make you look stupid or small. Rather, because alignment makes misalignment visible. This is why people project. They take the discomfort they feel, the pressure of their own unfinished standards, their own distress and unhappiness, and they attach it to him. They call him arrogant because they don't want to call themselves undisciplined. They call him cold because they don't want to face their own emotional mess. They call him intense because they don't want to admit they have become soft. This is why being taken seriously attracts resistance. And this is why serious men must always be careful. Not to shrink. Not to explain themselves into acceptance. Not to dilute their standards to keep company. A serious man does not need to be loved by everyone. He needs to be true enough to be trusted and strong enough to be disliked for it. The real price of being taken seriously is not status. The real price is internal. It is that you must become predictable to yourself. Not predictable like boring, predictable like reliable. You must do what you said you would do. And most importantly, and especially when no one is watching. Because that is where seriousness is built. Not in the room, not on the phone, not under external observation. In private, in the moment where you could slip and no one would know. In the moment where you could delay and no one would challenge you. In the moment where you could betray your own standards and still look fine, still get away with it. That is where a man either becomes credible or stays performative. There comes a moment where a man realizes this is not lonely. This is clean. He stops confusing chaos with connection. He stops confusing attention with love. He stops confusing sympathy with respect. And something settles in his system. No drama, no confusion, no constant renegotiation with self. Just clarity, direction, structure, and weight carried properly. This is the moment the world stops testing him aggressively and starts trusting him with more. Not because people become kinder or softer towards him. Not because they suddenly understand him and his intentions. Because the world responds to consistency, to results, to action. Responsibility does not arrive because you ask for it. It arrives because you have proven you won't drop it. You won't drop the baton. It arrives because your yes means yes. Your no means no. Your word means what it means, and that is rare. So the world begins to use you differently. It stops treating you like someone who needs to be convinced. It stops managing you with reminders and reassurances. It stops cushioning consequences. And it starts treating you like someone who can be relied upon. Someone who can carry the weight. This is the clean reward. Not praise or applause or validation. Trust. And trust is heavier than attention. And it is real. And it is heartfelt. Being taken seriously is not a reward. It is a role. And a role that demands alignment. A role that exposes weaknesses quickly. A role that only works if you live what you claim. And this is the price. You don't get to hide behind intention. You don't get to hide behind emotion. You don't get to hide behind story. You are measured by follow through, by consistency, by what you carry without collapsing onto others. Again, this is not punishment. This is the initiation into authority. And if you are feeling the weight right now, if life is getting cleaner, harsher, more direct, it does not mean you are failing. It means the world is no longer managing you. It means you are being taken seriously. You are transitioning. And if you want that life, you pay for it in private. By doing what you said you would do. By becoming predictable to yourself. By choosing standards over sympathy. By carrying discomfort without turning it into theatre. This is the price. And if you are feeling it, it means you are no longer pretending.